Continuing on with characteristics and growth requirements of trees, this microlecture focuses on the biology, structure, and arrangement of leaves and fruit. As many of you learned in grade school, the leaves of trees are basically sugar factories that produce sugars and starches through photosynthesis by absorbing light and converting it into these sugars plus oxygen. When you look at a cross-section of a leaf under a microscope, you can see a number of different layers. The outermost layer that you see on the leaf is called the epidermis, which is protected by a waxy coating called the cuticle. And just as the inside of the tree has xylem cells or xylem tissues, so does the leaf. The xylem conducts water from the plant to the leaf. You have guard cells inside the leaf that form pores that are called stomata that open and shut to allow water and oxygen and carbon dioxide to pass through and to keep contaminants out. And embedded in the inner tissues of the leaf are the chloroplasts, and that's where actual photosynthesis takes place. And once the photosynthesis takes place and the sugar or glucose is made, phloem, which carries food always, takes the leaf to the rest, or takes that food from the leaf to the rest of the plant. So what causes leaves to fall in the fall? Well, in autumn trees stop growing, and that's more to do with less sunlight, not necessarily temperature. But leaves stop producing food, and chlorophyll is no longer made. And trees shed the leaves not to stay warm, but to conserve moisture. Broadleaf trees with their large surface areas give off huge quantities of moisture through evaporation, and in the winter, the freezing of the soil cuts off the supply of moisture to the roots, and water conservation becomes very important. If broadleaves were to keep their leaves, they might become fatally dried out. When the balance of daylight, darkness, and cold reaches that critical point, a typical broadleaf tree responds by creating a barrier of special corky cells where the leaf stem joins the twig. And once that leaf is sealed off from the tree's circulatory system, the leaf slowly dies. Its attachment weakens and it drops from the tree, and another layer of specialized cells seals off that little wound when the tree drops, and that protects the tree against the loss of moisture and the entry of fungus. When you're describing trees by their leaves, it's important to know the different types of terms related to leaf arrangement. You have simple leaves, which is one leaf, one stem, not compound, not divided. You have palmately compound leaves, which have 5 leaflets. You have compound or pinnately compound leaves, which consist of leaflets arranged on both sides of the rachis or the stem. And then bipinnately compound leaves have primary leaflets divided into secondary leaflets. You'll sometimes see that written as 2 pinnately compound. A simple species would be a species like redbud, and a tree with bipinnately compound leaves might be honey locust or Gladitia triacanthos. Leaves are arranged on the stem in 3 primary patterns, oppositely like your maples and dogwoods, alternately in kind of a zigzag shape or where the leaves aren't lined up kind of parallel to each other, and in a whorled stem arrangement. The other two diagrams just again are kind of showing some terminology related to leaves. The blade of the leaf, the axillary bud, which you see between the twig or stem and then the stem of the leaf. The petiole is the term for the stem of the leaf, and the rachis again is the kind of midrib in compound leaves, especially where the leaflets come off from. There's a number of different leaf shapes and technical terms for those shapes. Cordate is heart-shaped. Deltoid, of course, is delta-shaped. You have reniform-shaped leaves, which are kidney-shaped. Lanceolate leaves are pretty self-explanatory. They're formed like a lance. Ovate or egg-shaped, and then obovate, which is reverse egg-shaped. These are some of the terms that are used in dendrology to describe leaf shape. Again, here's some more examples of those terminologies. You can pause the presentation to look at them a little more closely if you'd like. Leaf margins are another way you can describe a particular leaf. Entire margins mean there's no kind of marginal division. Serrate leaves have kind of saw-shaped or straight-edged teeth pointing to the apex. Again, feel free to pause the next few slides to kind of get your bearings on different types of margins here. Again, other types of leaf margins such as dentate, sinuate, undulate, and cerulate. Black cherry, which is a common species in the southeast, has cerulate margins, very small, sharp, straight-edged teeth which point to the apex. There are several different types of tree fruits, and I'll go through these briefly. Samaras are the term for the helicopters, or your maple leaves, those that are maple seeds, those types of tree fruits that spin in the air, that are wind-blown. Those are called samaras. Your acorns or walnuts would be considered nuts. If you look at a magnolia fruit or a yellow poplar fruit, that would be considered a follicle. You have drupes, you have pomes, and you have legumes. Legumes, of course, are like bean pods. So I would definitely learn your different types of tree fruits. And of course, you have berries, which are fleshy fruits, a type of fleshy fruit. And there's a picture of my favorite berry, holly. There, Hallie. There's different types of seed dispersal mechanisms that trees have adapted to get those seeds out in the open for reproduction. Air or wind dispersal is one, and that's samaras, which are your maples and your ashes, use wind dispersal for plant reproduction. Animals transport a lot of seeds to a lot of different places. Squirrels that grab acorns and hide them in little caches, when they forget where they've hidden these acorns, that allows germination to occur. Especially in the tropics, ants are play a major role in seed dispersal, and birds. You also have hitchhikers, or what we used to call in the South, beggar lice, that attach to your plants and allow seeds to move from one place to another. Water dispersed seeds include mangrove seeds and coconuts, which drop and are carried by the ocean or by water currents from point A to point B. You have gravity dispersed seeds like your Osage orange, and it's thought that some type of large Pleistocene mammals actually ate Osage orange and was transported in the gut and then pooped out somewhere else to germinate. But since those large mammals don't exist anymore, they just kind of fall to the ground. Witch hazel has an interesting seed. When the seed dries, it splits. It's called a dehiscent seed, and it opens up with pressure and kind of explodes the seed out and disperses it that way. And finally, here are just some features of a twig that you need to become familiar with. When you look at a twig, especially in the winter, you'll notice a number of different features. You'll see a leaf scar, which is left after the leaf falls. The terminal bud you'll find at the very end of the twig. And the terminal bud will typically be covered by imbricate, which are kind of just platy shingle-like scales, or valvate scales, which kind of look like a duck's bill that close around the bud. Some twigs have lenticels, or little small spots. Black cherry has those. You'll also see lateral buds, which form the new kind of leaves or twigs off of a branch. But that is it for twig features. Make sure you learn them.